Behind me here is an important milestone for Melbourne. Have a look at this. This is Melbourne's newest tram, the G-Class, here at the brand new Maidstone Tram Depot. The G-Class is a small single car electric tram. With 2 traction motors of 44 horsepower each, it can carry up to 53 passengers. Built for the Paran and Melbourne Tramways Trust, it's a... hold on. Wait, sorry, wrong tram. Anyway, I and some others have been invited here today to have a look around and show you a sneak preview of what it's like inside. So join me today as we take a sneak peek at Melbourne's newest tram, the G-Class. For the first time in our network's 142-year history, Melbourne will have a locally built, medium capacity, low floor tram. As per my mistake in the introduction, this is also not Melbourne's first G-Class tram. The first were built over 100 years ago in 1913 for the Paran and Melbourne Tramways Trust, and really bear little resemblance to our present day trams. Now normally this is the point of the video where I talk a bit about the background of the tram. Instead, I'll just show you around the tram and talk about the day itself, because I think that's probably why most of you clicked on this video. If you do want to know about the design background, you can see my previous 2 videos about its design and history that I made in 2022 and 2024 when we saw the mock-up. I've posted links to these in the description below. I'll also shortly release a special second video leading on from this one, where I will talk about the future of Melbourne's tram network and how the G-Class fits into all of this. If you want to be notified when this is released, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell enabled if you aren't already. So with that, let's have our first look at the G-Class. We arrived at the Maidstone Tram Depot on a cloudy afternoon. This brand new facility is on Hampstead Road, just west of High Point Shopping Centre. The depot was built as part of this project and includes a short section of new track in a median, a new bus stop, and a new short section of shared path. It's also worth noting that this is the site of the former Migrant Reception Centre that closed in 1983. There are many nods to its history throughout the depot, and some former residents were actually invited to this event. There are also internal roads named for other former residents, and information signs installed next to the footpaths. Today, on the other side of the depot, is the Maribyrnong Immigration Detention Centre. The Maidstone Depot looks and feels very different to any other in Melbourne. It's very spacious with lots of trees and doesn't really feel like you're in a city. At the moment, it's still under Alstom's management and serves as the receiving centre for the G-Class, as well as a major maintenance facility, not just for the G-Class, but other trams as well. After a safety briefing in the lunchroom, which also featured this wonderful picture, we were led outside to get a look at G-Class tram number 7006 parked out in the yard, with a rather dramatic background. I think it's a good looking tram, and overall inside and out it was very similar to the previous mock-up. On the outside they have a similar LED design to the E-Class for when the tram is stopped, but these ones here just say stop rather than the longer scrolling text that the E-Class have. I think this is better because it's clearer and easier for people driving to read. I'm also very pleased to see that the destination board shows orange text on a black background, and not the yellow text on a white background as we saw in the mock-up. This is much easier to read. The new Transport Victoria logo is on the front, and the fleet numbers are on the side and front of the driver's cab. There is also new Operated by Yarra Trams text on the side that isn't on any other tram class, unless maybe this is a new design that will be implemented across the rest of the fleet. I'm not really sure. We also had a look at the maintenance and storage facilities at the southwest corner of the site, which are very big indeed. This is where the maintenance and painting happens, as well as where new trams are prepped for operations. We were lucky to see the newest delivery, 7007, which had arrived just a day earlier. With sunset closing in, the evening light made a very picturesque view of the tram lit up against the surrounding buildings. Then there was one final event, and probably my favourite part of the whole day, which was a ride on the tram. Before we set off, I made sure to touch on, which later just showed up as tram in my Mikey history, and then settled in for the short trip to the other side of the depot. We've just been told we're actually going to head out for a little bit of a ride on this tram and take it through the depot a bit, so we're going to have a look at what that looks like right now, which is right now by the look of it. So here we go. First movement. This is our first trip ever on the G-Class tram. The interior has been carefully designed and it shows. I think this has been very well done and is a comfortable and spacious interior. There are some differences and improvements from the mock-up that I think are worth mentioning. The first and one of the most important for me is the interior information screens. These have been changed to ones that are shorter but wider with a different layout. Making it wider means that there are more longer stop names that can fit on the screen, and I think these are very well designed overall. My main point for improvement is that other connections weren't shown on the screen. For example, Moonee Ponds Junction, shown here, should have a bus and tram connection. Hopefully this was just not showing on the day and can be added in the future. I also saw that the word junction had been shortened, which I think can be spelled out in full given the wider screens. The seat is unfortunately more or less the same as the mock-up, with thin padding that I didn't find very comfortable, but still better than the C1 class, and the legroom is decent. In good news, the wood panels around the seats have been kept, which look very nice and give it a very Australian look and feel. The stop buttons are push and not touch sensitive, which is great, and there are plenty of these located all around the tram. The 2 single seats at the front are still there, and some new stickers have been added telling people to keep clear of the doors. Unlike the A and Z class trams that these are replacing, the G class can accommodate wheelchairs, prams and mobility aids, which will be a big improvement. The 2 sets of double doors towards the middle of the tram are wide and lead to the open areas inside the tram, which have designated accessible areas. The ride was smooth as we made our way around to the side of the depot and back. I got a good look at the driver's cabin, which looks nice and comfortable with lots of shiny new tools for them. The bell and horn are the same as an E-Class tram, which makes sense given their common origin. We were told on the day that the first passenger run is planned soon, and will be extra services in addition to the regular timetable on the Route 59. As with the Extrapolis 2, they are waiting on the Office of the National Rail Safety Regulator to certify the trams for public service before they can begin. This is a standard process that needs to happen for every new rail vehicle. At the time I'm recording, there is no confirmed date for when the first of these will enter passenger operation, but I'm guessing we will find out pretty soon. In the meantime, if you keep a sharp eye out, you might be lucky enough to see one running around the city during testing. Thanks again to the Department of Transport and Planning and Alstom for inviting me and everyone else along. Everyone there from the various project teams are clearly very passionate about these trams and justifiably proud of the work that they've done. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And as I mentioned before, you'll get notified of the second follow-up video automatically. If you haven't yet checked out my supporters portal where you can get extra stuff like early video access and progress updates, make sure you head on over to members.philipmallis.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.